Morning, everybody. It's Harold from Living in the Hill Country. This morning, before we head out to the ranch to start some projects out there, we're going to give you a garden tour. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness right here in the Hill Country of Texas. We are at the cucumber patch trellis. And you can see that we're still doing well. Notice that the leaves down at the bottom are starting to die off, and they have a tendency to do that. Once they start producing, the leaves that don't serve any purpose start dying off, and they just grow new leaves on top. And I've started pinching off some of these ends here like this after they reach the top of the trellis, just simply going above the bud there and taking that part off, and that will stop that vine from continuing to grow, and then it'll start producing, concentrate on producing cucumbers. And we've been taking cucumbers off of here on a daily basis and probably getting, 2 or 3. Like that one right there. That was maybe half that size last night and yesterday. And it's ready to pick. And there's some back here. See them? You can tell the difference between, well, here's one here. All right, so you can tell the difference between the Sumter and the Market Moor. See how the Market Moors have that same shade of color throughout? And it's longer, it's about 8 inches long. Now, the Sumter, they're smaller. And they also have thinner skins, of course. Making them what they call the pickling cucumber, and like that, and like this. And they have a tendency to have the dark green, and then they lighten up down here at the bottom. And they'll get large, but not as long as those. But yeah, it looks like we have a couple more there that are ready to pick, so we'll have to get out here and get those harvested. But anyway, let's get over to the other portion of the garden. And of course, on our way out or over to the other portion of the garden, we just stop and say hello to our rose bush, and it's doing really well. I should watch, kind of take care of this more. I just let it do its thing, and it every year it produces or shows flowers. It's just beautiful. I don't know. Probably one of my favorite plants out here for some reason. Just beautiful. So what's going on here, you ask? Well, I'll have the video up shortly, but I finally got the pad ready to put the hot tub on, so that's a whole different series of videos. So I don't know if it's a series, but that's a whole different video to watch, so keep your eye out for that. And there's a new fire pit. I still have some work to do on that to finish out that series of videos. I think there were 3 for that, but anyway, let's get on with the tour. These palm trees were in our dining room area, and I'm trying to do what I can to revive them a little bit. They seem to have dried out and or dormanted themselves. And figured that with it being 90 and 100 degrees and humid out here, that might revive them a little bit. I've added more soil to them, put in some time release fertilizer in there, and hopefully that will help them develop a little bit more. There's that one, and then there's this one. And looks a little bit shabby, not perfect, but they're coming around. They get these, wilty ends on it. And I think maybe we need to maybe even get bigger pots for them. But anyway, here's the flower boxes with the these are 4 o'clocks and zinnias. And here's another, and it has bachelor buttons too. And I have seen a couple of bachelor button, here we go, down here. That's what that looks like, a bachelor button, I guess. Anyway, and here we have the Morning Glory, Nasturtiums, and marigolds. And I don't know if these buggers are going to ever want to flower, or they're just going to keep growing. I don't know. That's got to be 3 foot tall. We also have moonflower in here, and it's bloomed a couple of times. Where is it? It's bloomed a couple of times, but that's about it. Here's some of that Morning Glories. Okay. I wanted to come over here in front of the garage. We have our mums. These are all assorted colored mums that I transplanted yesterday. I got one hanging basket. I don't want to put them in hanging baskets, but I didn't want to create any more than the 56 plants that I have now, because I think that'll be enough for the project I have going on. And I'll show you that at a different time, but just kind of wanted to show you those. Those were planted June 4th. So anyway, they're doing really well. But I wanted to come over here because of my Datura anoxia. Datura anoxia. And their beauty. Had a couple of them bloom last night, and I don't know if you caught my video on the time lapse of them opening, and that was off of this plant here. There was 2 of them that I had gotten time lapse on. Now we have another one here and another one there. That one will open up today. These 2, this one and this one, will die off, and then that one will open up. I don't see another one on this one as of yet, but I am just happy to see one bloom off of that plant. Just a beautiful flower. I don't know. I think they're my favorite. It's Datura anoxia, or what they call the angel's trumpet, or also known as the downy thorn apple. Just a beautiful plant. Anyway, okay, we'll go ahead and get started from a different angle here. Some more flower baskets that I had left over from my market day sales. Morning Glories, of course. It also has a moonflower in there, and looks like No, that's not. That's a morning glory there, but morning glories, bachelor buttons there. These are strawberries. Everything's left over from what I raised to try and sell. The Alaskan dwarf nasturtiums. Over here, I have another moonflower, I believe. Yes, and the nasturtiums together in a basket. And that looks like a morning glory. One of the other ones, the tricolor, the dwarf morning glory tricolor. They haven't flowered yet. And this actually is the only one that has survived out of all of the ones that I've planted. They've just either got shaded out by the other plants or choked off. So hopefully this one may flower for us and we'll be able to see what the tricolor is. So that'll be nice. So over here on the tree, there's our Alaskan dwarf nasturtium, and here's a moonflower with a small. That's a 7-inch basket, and look at there. Beautiful. Really neat, the design or the support stems. Nice to see a moonflower. Okay, so that's our flower tour, I guess you could say. Poblano peppers. Doing pretty well. 3 of them on there, 4 of them. And hopefully that one up there will continue to grow. It's been warm. It's gotten up to 100 degrees, so everything starts to dormant out or reserve its energy, and so you'll see effects of that heat in all these plants. This is the Mamma Mia Giallo, and these are starting to turn the yellow that we're looking for. There's 4 fruit there and 1 there, and that one, you see that one there. This here, that is just, it died off because it pulled its energy away from that because of the heat. Alright, so here we are with our strawberries right next door, and I'm pulling, oh, you know, these are pretty small here. I get some small ones, and then get over here to the more mature plants, and we'll see some come off of them. They're pretty good sized. Right in here. Strawberries. Pulling about 4 or 5 or so from that bed off of there every day. Ace 55 tomato. And have a couple of tomatoes on there struggling to ripen. It's still showing some blossoms, so it's promising. This is an Ace 55 as well. We got some smaller ones here, but you're going to see on some of the other plants where these smaller ones have started to get blossom end rot. And I don't believe it's from lack of watering. I just think it's from the heat, or fertilizing. But anyway, let's get around here. You'll notice I have 2 empty pots there. I don't know what I'm going to be doing with those. I'm just marking out my boundary. Just to the right of that pole, the boundaries are going to be set to come up around that direction and then down to the end of that raised bed and then across to the walkway. And all that's going to end up being gravel. There's a little bit of landscaping. So, green beans. Looks like I need to come out and do some more harvesting. I had harvested yesterday, took about a good pound off of here. Ate a couple of them, of course. Really, really good. Really sweet and juicy. Alright, so here's the Floridade tomato. And I don't know, you'll see the one in there. It's starting to ripen out. And then as you come up, you'll see these smaller ones. And they have blossom end rot. I know I'm giving them the correct fertilizer. I know I'm watering them enough. I water them once, maybe twice a day. I just don't know what's causing that, other than the fact that it's gotten hot. So, anyway, Super Sue. Plenty of tomatoes on there. Not showing any blossom end rot. Okay, and now there's one down in there that's going to be starting to ripen up here shortly. Okay, so we'll wander over this direction. Over to this raised bed, we have our okra. We have 2 different types of okra. We have our yellow pear tomatoes. And then we had our Brandywine tomatoes. And our okra, of course. Clemson spineless. Planting them, leaving them in those 9-inch pots worked out really good. So, looks like we're going to be getting some okra off of these today, later on. Brandywine. Haven't seen much other than blossoms off of this plant. These 2. We got 2 of them, one over here and then one here. Yellow pear tomatoes, of course, are blowing up. Picked a couple ripe ones from this bunch down here. Very juicy, very tasty. But definitely producing. Had a squirrel come across. They have a tendency to run across the PVC and then go up to the tree and busted off this vine here, which I then in turn attached to the PVC there and had to doctor it up a bit down here. I took some of that I took some of that tape and garden tape and wrapped up. It was split. It split down to here and barely hanging on, but we lifted it up and wrapped it with that Velcro tape, and it seems to be doing just fine. Hopefully it'll allow these tomatoes out here to ripen up. So, okay, the corn. The corn is getting there. Just about ready. Some of these ears are still needing to produce, or still needing a little more water yet. There are some down here, like that one, that feel and look as if they're starting to plump up finally. Oh, look at this ear of corn. Whoops. And this ear of corn here. I can feel that in there. The hairs are not, they're still a little bit damp, but I can feel the kernel starting to form there. So it might be another week, but watering every day just to help them develop the kernels. All right, so then we have our dreaded beefsteak tomato plants back here by the fence, and I think I've seen two. Not on this plant, on the one next door there. We'll go over to that one quick. So here we come over to this one, and it does have a tomato in there. See it? And a couple down there, but you're going to notice something, right? Blossom end rot. Why? I don't understand it. I don't understand it. Maybe it's the soil composition in this certain container, or that it's fighting or not feeding it correctly, or it's got some type of bacteria in these two containers that are stopping the plants from producing tomatoes the way they should, but just struggling. So I don't know. Any ideas, let me know. It's not from watering, and it's not from fertilizing, because I know I'm fertilizing at least once a week and watering them every day to every other day at the least. So, and the production of the other tomato plants are doing fine, like Mr. Roma tomato here. Mr. Roma tomato, look at him. There's 10 tomatoes right there. There's 4. Over here, there's 4. Up here, 5, 7, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. You know, so Mr. Roma is doing really well. My beefsteak are not, and neither is Super Sue. Okay, so now we'll get over to the other side of the garage, in the back of the garage. So here we are. Corn's doing pretty good. It's a couple of weeks younger, right? So it's just starting to show the hair, and on some of the younger plants, and some of the hairs have been developed, and we got some good corn producing here as well. It's almost the same story as the other. And got it showing a little bit of blight on the, or brown spots on the leaves. But nevertheless, doing pretty good. And like I said, in another week or so, maybe 2 weeks over here, we'll be getting corn. So then we're going to get to tomato or watermelon, and I got to show you this guy. See this guy here? You notice the marks across him? He started growing under the fence. I had to dig below him to pull him on this side of the fence. That's a black beauty there. And I don't know. The very first watermelon to start, and he decides to grow under the fence. So anyway, and here is a watermelon there, and that's a Charleston Gray. And then we'll get over there to the other side to the other. Okay, so the other watermelons here. Here we have Sugar Baby. Okay. That right there is a Black Beauty. That's a Sugar Baby. And here's another Charleston Gray. So we're getting some. And then of course our squash. Constant producers, pulling 2 or 3 every other day. And this one here, I gotta show you. This one here, look at that. That has 4 that are gonna probably be ready to pick later today or tomorrow. And then it has 3 other ones that are growing. That's the crook neck. There's the straight neck. And it looks like I have one that I could probably pick today. And one that's growing there. And then we have one hidden over here. See him back in there, crook neck. That's a volunteer there. He just showed up. I don't know. I must have dropped a seed maybe. I don't know. And let's see, what do we got over here? Oh, let's get around here. Oh, some more crook necks down in there. Look at that. So, been pretty successful back here. And looking forward to the watermelon. Hopefully we can help them continue on and continue to hand out, I guess, or maybe even sell some squash. And definitely can't wait for the corn to be produced or to start ripening up. So thank you for joining me on the tour of my garden. I hope that you enjoyed what you saw. If you did, feel free to subscribe to my channel and give it a thumbs up and leave some comments. And have anything that you want to see or would like me to show you, or any questions that you might have, feel free to ask. And as always, God bless you. I hope you have a wonderful day.